All right, Shalom, Israel. Shalom. It's Brother Nashan, the New Wine Congregation of Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shas. All right, it's in His name and in His Son's name that we do everything that we do, and it's an honor and a privilege to be used as a vessel to bring you all the word today, right? So we're gonna jump right into it. We in Genesis chapter 13. Now we've been talking about Abraham and pretty much his journey, right? So where he's been going, and the promises that was made to him and his descendants in the previous chapter. And we're gonna keep track with his journey a little bit more on this one, right? But this one is specifically more so dealing with Abraham and Lot, his cousin. All right, so let's get going, right? So Genesis 13, short chapter. So we're gonna let the spirit flow. It may be long, may not be long, right? So it says, and Abram went up. Let me put my phone on D&D real quick. Salaki, y'all. All right, so it says Abram went up out of Egypt. So they leaving Egypt. Remember when he was in Egypt, the Pharaoh there blessed him with sheep and cattle, and he hooked them up while he was there, thinking that Sarai was his sister. So kind of was giving Abram like sort of a little dowry, thinking that he was gonna get to be with Sarai. All right, so ended up not working out like that. Of course, the Most High was plaguing Pharaoh's house, and Pharaoh immediately sent Abram and everything that he had out of Egypt. Y'all get on somewhat, right? So that's where we at right now. So it says, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. All right, so let's go up here to the map. So it says they came up out of Egypt, and it says they went south. So looking like they're gonna kind of go like this, like kind of like up and south, all right, and end up over here in Kadesh, I want to say. We're gonna see though. Let's keep reading. All right, so it says, and Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and in gold. Why? Because Pharaoh hooked him up. Egypt was the world power at this time. All right, so Pharaoh hooked him up, and he let him keep all the stuff that he gave him. It says, and he went on his journey from the south even to Bethel. All right, so let's go back to the map. Bethel is here. So it says he went from the south to Bethel. That's interesting. From Egypt to Bethel here would be like going northeast. So a couple things could have transpired. That's very interesting. This portion of land could have shifted over time. I don't count that out of a possibility. All right, because he wasn't coming from over here and going south. He didn't do that. That ain't what it just said. It said he went out of Egypt and went south to Bethel. All right, so that's really interesting. This land it definitely could have shifted over time. There's not when Napoleon went into Egypt, see, we can't really calculate the dates of the Egyptian dynasty accurately, because when Napoleon went into Egypt, he messed all that up. He messed up a lot of records, destroyed a whole lot of records, right, of the dynasties. So it's really, really hard to calculate the exact time of the Egyptian dynasties. So there's no telling how that land could have looked at that time, right? No telling, man. That's real interesting though. All right, so let's go back to the Bible. So it says he went from the south to from the south to even to Bethel. Didn't say he went south, say he went from the south. So it could be, okay, so it could be saying he went from the south to Bethel, could have just said he went north to Bethel. But the other school of thought, which is probably what it is that is you seeing it saying the arrow saying he went here to Egypt. Now you got another, if y'all can see that, this red line is traveling out of Egypt. So this one is going here from the south up to Bethel. So that's what we got going on. All praises. All right. So y'all doing this scholarship with me. So all praises, right? So it says he went even from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai. All right. So he kind of went back. So we see originally he went down, came up, went to Egypt. So he started out over here. Right. So he left the land of Chaldee, came up, went up to Haran, Carmish, went down, Damascus, we read about that, Shechem, Moriah, Gerar, there's Kadesh, and he went to Egypt. Now he going out of Egypt into Bethel. So Hai is probably somewhere up in here. They don't got it marked on the map, but all right, so between Bethel and Hai, it says, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. So he started calling on the name of Yahweh, right? Studying and practicing how to serve Yahweh. It says, and Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. So Lot was on too, right? I don't know if that was because Abram gave him some, or Pharaoh just kind of blessed everybody before they got up out of there, right? So it says, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. So the land, the area that they was in, they got stuff everywhere. Cows and sheep, those animals got to graze. So it's only so much land in that area where they could be together and everybody could get what they needed. So the land couldn't hold them, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. So you got these herdmen out there. They probably got the cattle in one section, and then the cattle probably drifted into the other into Lot's herdsman section, and they kind of went, hey, I had mine here first, and they had a strife. They went to beef. It says, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land. So you still had some Hamites in the land. All right. It says, and Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brothers. So Abram, he went to Lot, sensibly, and he like, hey, don't let it be no issue between us, man, between your people and my people, right? That could have easily went the other way. It could have easily turned into something big, right? But Abram, being the wise man that he is, went over, got some understanding, and talk to his brother, right? It's a precept I want to get on that. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Sirach chapter just started. Hold on, let me see. 14. Might be thinking about. Hold on, bear with me, y'all. Hold on, let me look it up. One that's saying admonish a friend, yeah. Sirach 19. Yeah, Sirach 19 and verse 13, right? It says, admonish a friend, it may, let me put it on the screen. So like Sirach 13, 19 and 13. All right, it says, admonish a friend, it may be he have not done it. And if he have done it, that he do it no more. All right. So admonish a friend mean like kind of go see what's going on. Right. Let's look at that word. Admonish. Get to the bottom of it. All right. So it says warn. Here it says warn or reprimand someone firmly. All right. Reprimand, rebuke, scold, reprove, upbraid, chastise, chide, censor. All right. So I was more so thinking that it was saying more so go see what's going on. Right? Investigate, admonish a friend. It may be he have not done it. Because if you just go and scold them right away and they didn't do it, then that ain't really good. And if he have done it, then he do it no more. Right. So either way, talk to him or let that person know if they did do something that bothers you, right? Admonish thy friend, it may be he have not said it. And if he have, that he speak it no more. All right. So with the grammar, with the context clues that's going on in the sentence in the verse, is kind of leaning toward go and investigate, right? And let the see what's going on, get to the bottom of it. All right. So that's more likely what Abraham did with Lot. He went and talked to him, like, hey, admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale. You never know. Uh the herdsman might have been kind of hating on Abram and Lot. Kind of like, oh, we get something going, maybe that'll cause them to beef. You know what I'm saying? These brothers was rich. You know what I'm saying? Abram and Lot was both rich, right? So Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee. Look, me and you, we good. They trying to fight, but I know we good, right? He said, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren, we brothers. Is not the whole land before thee? So he like, look, we got all this land. We ain't just got to stay between Bethel and Hai. We got all this land, right? He say, separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. So he like, look, man, we grown men, you know. Let's separate. We still gonna be cousins. You still go, I still got your back if anything go down. And later on, we're gonna read about something gonna go down. But he like, let's separate, let's split up. You go to the left, I go to the right. If you go to the right, I go to the left. Whatever you want to do, cuz, right? So let's read on. 13, verse 10. It says, and Lot lifted up his eyes, and behold, all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So before Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, and the 5 cities that were with it, it was water everywhere. It was like a beautiful place, right? Like the Garden of Eden. It's going to say that, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. So even Egypt is, when you think of Egypt now, you think of it being like red clay and dusty and sand. Egypt back then used to be just water everywhere, a beautiful, like a tropical place. You know what I'm saying? From what it's leaning to, it looked like the Garden of Eden. So it was a beautiful, well-watered place. It would have had to have had a lot of nutrients and sustenance to it for it to be a world power, for everybody to kind of want to flock to that land. So what you think of Egypt now, it wasn't like that back then. Right? It was a a beautiful place now, and so was Sodom and Gomorrah. It went until the Lord set it on fire that it turned into where you can't even pinpoint where it's at now. Right. So let's keep going. Verse 11, it says, then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. So let's go to the map. Right. So Lot went east. So the Jordan is like up in here, I want to say. Yeah, the Jordan, yeah, because that's like where up in here is where Israel would be. You got the land of Edom down here. All right, so Israel would be like up in here. You got Egypt over here. So the Jordan, this little body of water, I can't make it no bigger. But this one of these bodies of water, that's like the Jordan. So he went towards over this way. All right, so let's go. Let's go back. So Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. And Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent towards Sodom. So he ended up making his way into Sodom. All right. Eventually, we are familiar with. It says what? But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. If you know anything about the Bible, you probably heard about Sodom and Gomorrah. Right. So they had a lot of abomination going on in that land. Right. Verse 14, it says, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes. So the Lord started talking to Abram again after Lot went his way. Right. Sometimes it'll be like that. Sometimes you kind of got to separate yourself, to for the Lord to deal with you a little bit. That made me think of a precept. Yeah. Let me get that in Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18 and verse 1. Proverbs 18 says, through desire, a man having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. All right. So sometimes when you separate yourself, it can put you in a place to where you can concentrate better. You kind of don't have anything to influence you. Let's go into that word, intermeddle. To expose, lay bare, to disclose oneself, break out, to break out. Right. So you intermeddle with, what I'm saying, you kind of can, like, I like the way it's saying right here, to expose, lay bare. Like, you have no preconceived notions sometimes when you get by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of let it all out versus you always in a house with somebody. You always, everywhere you go, you got somebody with you. Sometimes you can really dig into yourself. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back to that verse. Sometimes it take getting off to yourself. So it says, through desire, a man having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Right? Let's get another precept. Yahweh Shai did that a lot. Y'all bear with me. These precepts popping in my head a little bit. Trying to find. I know it's one. Can't think of it. Maybe it'll come to me. I don't want to spend too much time. Yeah. Yeah, I ain't gonna worry about that. But yeah, a lot of times in the scriptures where you read about Yahweh Shai kind of disappearing, the disciples not knowing where he went at, you know what I'm saying? And then he kind of popped back up, you know. But taking that break sometimes and just being, not saying forsaking the gathering of yourselves. Of course not. You don't want to do that. But sometimes when you separate yourself, the Lord can kind of take you to a new level. Right. So it says, in the Lord, I mean, it's saying it right here, and the Lord said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, right? Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. Right. So basically the whole world, everything that you can see, everything, ruler of all you survey, right? For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. Right? The whole earth was made for the Israelites. The whole planet Earth was made for the Israelites. Right? It says, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. So all this, trying to do a census on Israel, you know, at the end times, when it's all said and done, you're not gonna be able to number Israel, right? You got the instances of the book of Numbers where a census was done, of course. When David did a census, he got in trouble for that. But you know, in these end times, in the last days, you can't do a census on Israel, right? Let's get a precept. Let's go to Hosea. Can't do a census on Israel. They try, but you can't even count us. All right. This is Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Right? So you can't number Israel. Right? Can't do it. Let's get another precept. Let's go to the book of Revelation. All right, Revelation. Look real quick. I want to say it's chapter 7 and verse 9. So Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9. So even in the end times, right? It says, and after this, so you had up above, right, 12,000 from each tribe being sealed, the 144,000 of Israel. And then down here in verse 9, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne of the Lamb, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands. Right? So all nations. Why? Because Israel is scattered in all nations. Right? Let's get this in the book of James. Israel is scattered in all nations. James chapter 1. Right? It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. All right. So we're scattered abroad. We're in every nation. We speak different languages. We look different. Right. So you got Israel in all nations. All right. It says, in kindreds and peoples and tongues. Let's go into that word, kindreds. Show you that that's still talking about Israel. Right? A tribe. In the New Testament, all persons descending from the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob, a nation, people. So you got Israel in all nations. So different kindreds, tongues, because we speak different languages. It's still talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Let's go back to that verse. So it said all nations. You couldn't number it. all kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne, different types of people, but they are the people of the nation of Israel, right? This is a precept for, let's go here in the book of Second Esdras. This is actually a precept for this scripture, Second Esdras chapter 2, saying the same thing, same account. Esdras and John the Revelator had the same vision. All right. Second Esdras chapter 2 and verse 42. Esdras saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them was a young man of high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? And he answered and said unto me, These be that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Same thing in Revelation. Then I said to the young man, What young person is this that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I to greatly commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Right. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders the Lord thy God thou hast seen. Right. So it's the same account that you read in John the Revelator's vision in Revelation. Right. And cried with a loud voice, verse 10, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb. All right, same thing. It says, and the angel stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts and fell before the throne on their faces and worshiped God. All right, so same account. So all that to say, this is what the Lord meant when he told Abram that, verse 16, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Right? Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you. What is he telling? I will give it unto thee. What is he telling Abram? Go. He's saying, look, everything you can see, north, east, south, west, that's going to be yours. Now get up and just walk. Walk everywhere you want to go, because everything the further you walk north, you're gonna see more north, right? So he's letting him know the whole planet is gonna be yours. It's gonna come a day where there are only Israelites on the planet. That's what the purpose of the Lord was from the beginning, right? Let me show you. Some of y'all might say, "Nah, Sean, what the hell are you talking about? Ain't we gonna have slaves forever?" You're gonna have them for a little while, but not forever. Second Esdras chapter 6, right, and verse 54, right? It says, After these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. He made the world for us, for Israel. It's for us. It's going to come a time where, I think we get excited because the Bible says in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have slaves, Well, yeah, you're going to have them. Lord willing, we get there, you'll have some slaves. And there's laws even concerning slaves, how they should be passed on from generation to generation. But it's going to come a time where you ain't going to need no slaves. You ain't going to need no slaves, right? Let me get that in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 11. You might, I heard a brother say, well, who gonna plow the fields? Who gonna pick this, pick that? You're gonna have a type of body where you're not gonna need nobody to pick nothing. Who says that you're not gonna have the ability? To think about it. If Yahweh Shah could walk on water, Yahweh Shah could raise the dead. Why can't you think and make that apple come to you? Why you gotta go get it? Something to think about, right? Jeremiah 30, verse 11, for I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all the nations whither I have scattered thee. Let's see what another version sound like. So it say a full end of all the nations where I done put you at. Right? It says, for I will be with you. This is the Lord's declaration to save you. I will bring destruction on all the nations where I have scattered you. However, I will not bring destruction on you. I will discipline you justly, and I will by no means leave you unpunished. Destruction. What destruction mean? Let's go into the word destruction. Look, it said, for I will come. Matter of fact, dang, it said even. Dang, when I was reading it, destruction. When I was reading it interlinearly, let me go back to it. All right, for I am with you, declares the Lord, to save you, for I will destroy completely all the nations. Destroy completely. If it's completely destroyed, that means it's gone. To do, fashion, a saw. Did I look up the right word? Anyway, you know what destroy mean, especially destroy completely. Destroy completely mean it's gone. It ain't there no more. All right. Let's get another version. I will make a full end of all the nations. Same thing as the KJV. Look at the NIV. I am with you. I will save you, declares the Lord, though I completely destroy all the nations among which I scatter you. So we were scattered in all nations, like we proved with James, all right? In the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 1, we in all nations. So all them same nations that we got shipped into, Lord said he gonna destroy them. It's gonna come a time where they're gonna be gone. They're gonna be gone. All right. We'll get into that another day. That's a breakdown of Revelation chapter 20. We'll talk about that at length. Lord willing, we can do it Saturday. All right. So let's go back to Genesis 13 and 17. It says, arise through the land in length and walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. So he's up here in Hebron where the mouse is at, and it's a space in the plain of Hebron called Mamre. And he built his tent there. All right. So he left Egypt and went back up where he was coming from. And then he came up here, and he gonna end up in Habda, is what it looked like. Gonna end up in Habda. All right. So, and as we even go deeper into the law, right? I believe we might have covered it in Leviticus. The true dimension of Israel. I believe we might have covered it in one of those classes. Or was it in Deuteronomy? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 11. Let me get that real quick. So if you look at the law school Deuteronomy chapter 11, I believe I went into it in depth, right? Deuteronomy 11 and verse 23. All right, it says, then will the Lord drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier nations than yourselves. Every place whereon the sole of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness in Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea. The uttermost sea is the Mediterranean Sea. Shall your coast be. All right. So it was way bigger than just, let me go back, way bigger than just this little portion right here. The dimensions that he gave us, all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea, all the way the Euphrates is, I want to say the Euphrates is up in here. Oh, no, Salakia. Euphrates right here. So from the Mediterranean to the Euphrates and all up and down up in here, right? The whole world. And then on a deeper level, he gave Northern Kingdom this land over here that we in right now, America, right? So all praises to the Most High, man. All right, so like I said, short chapter. Lord willing, you got something out of the class. Lord willing, next week, 7 o'clock, Tuesday, we'll get into Genesis 14, right? The Battle of the Kings. All right, and we'll go into some heavier stuff, right? Dealing with Melchizedek and Lot being captured, and we're gonna deal with Melchizedek. We got to go into the book of Hebrews. So, Lord willing, we'll touch on that some and bring some of that information out, right? So, all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. It's Brother Nashon, New Wine Congregation of Israel. Shalom.